April 15, 2024. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. 5:30 was when the core retail sales as well as the Empire State Manufacturing Index came out, and it didn't really move the market all that much as compared to last week when the PPI and CPI numbers were released. And then overall, the day was kind of like a very choppy stair step sell-off. It was quite a really big sell-off though, because it's over 100 points on the S&P, because it started at 52.13 early in the morning, and then it sold off all the way to the lows, pretty much to the last 30 minutes is where it hit the lows of 50.94. It was over 120 or close to 120 point drop. There were quite a few setups that I saw, as well as almost trades, and unfortunately, it turned out to be a no trade day for me. There was one trade I did try to jump on, but it left without me because I think my entry was too optimistic because I always try to reduce my risk as much as possible, and I ended up missing the trade. So I'm going to go into the trades right now. So pre-market, it looked like this, and in the pre-market, I don't trade it, but I wake up and start looking at the charts right around here. And I saw that this was kind of really, really big rally because on Friday, it was kind of a big sell-off. I didn't trade Friday. I actually took a long weekend, but I did look at the chart after the fact on Sunday night and marked it up, but there's no video. And I thought, okay, well, prices seem like they want to recover this, maybe push all the way back to the top. So I thought it was going to be a rally day, maybe a trading range day, but I wasn't too sure. So there's some consolidation areas, and this is right when the market opens. There is technically a new high here. It turns out this is going to be the high of day, but I don't know it. So when it kind of had some trouble kind of plateaued up here at the top, I was thinking potentially it could be a range day, but I was leaning more toward a bullish day. So technically I have a new high here, sell off. You have a second entry long here, but this is so tiny. I don't really like playing this as a potential trade. On top of that, you don't really have a setup here. There's not a really good signal bar. So nothing I thought was worth taking. Plus, this is in the first minute. The first minute already printed like 5 candles. I'm very more cautious during the first minute, well, first couple of minutes. Prices move, and it actually sets up this, what I think is the actual first potential setup. You technically have a new low here. You have a first entry short, but it hits the same bottom, so the count resets. So this is actually where your new start is. The first entry short, pull back, creates a second entry short. We also created a new high here, first entry long, and then you technically have a second entry long right here per the count. So first time it hits a new high here, pushes up, then it makes a second new high. Now at the time I saw there's enough room, so I'm thinking there's a potential short trade here because it pushed up, EMA might be holding. You have a new low here, first entry short, pull back. You don't have a second entry short until it confirms on this candle. But I was thinking, okay, this is kind of coming back down. You have a confirmed second entry short here. It I was playing with multiple channels here. This is ultimately where the purple channel ended up, but I had, depending on the time of day, I did have certain things looking this way, certain things looking this way, and whatnot. In any case, there was enough room to come down before it hit whatever purple channel I had at the time. There was enough room before I hit the bottom. So when I saw this, I thought maybe there's a possible trade here, go short, because you're not going to hit the lows just yet. There's enough room for a scalp. I had this as a downtrend line, and it confirmed a third time. I wasn't sure if this was actually going to be a channel because it kind of fit clean here. So I thought, okay, there might be another move back down. Prices then continue moving, so it looked like this would have worked. EMA is starting to flatten out though, so you couldn't really use it to confidently act as a resistance, but it did act as a resistance, so it is maybe another piece of thing you could use to justify a trade. Prices move down, so I'm thinking I'm in a trading range now. This is where this blue trading range is. So it didn't, I kind of played with the bottom of this range a little bit, and it looked like there was maybe a 3-touch confirmation, 1, 2, 3, but there's no clean setup that I like. I don't like that these candles are somewhat neutral. It starts pushing up. I drew this yellow up channel. It looked like it broke out. It made first entry long, second entry long, but there's no trade here, and I don't like that it's potentially already having trouble breaking to the highs of this trading range that I'm thinking is part of the pre-market high, but it didn't look like there was any kind of good clean trade. It does create a new high here. It's a first entry long, pullback, second entry long, and when it pushes back down, it looks like a failed second entry long, and then now it's below the EMA, which is kind of flattening out, but it kind of pushes up and it closes back down. So I thought there's potentially a lower high here confirming the failed second entry long. EMA is sideways, but this yellow up channel already had a break and a new high here. So it looked like it was making one attempt up, 2 attempts up, and now I'm thinking it's breaking to the other side. So flush down, makes a lower high. I don't know that it's a lower high yet. It confirms right here. Now you have a lower high. So if you were more ambitious, I think you could have probably maybe placed the entry 1 tick below here. It is kind of within the criteria because this is a less than 2-point risk right here. Actually, slightly a 2.1 tick risk, and you might have been able to try to take a more ambitious trade here because it might be coming from the top of the range, pushing back down to the bottom. It bounces off the bottom of the range, so now I really think we're in a trading range now. So I was thinking at the time it's going to be a leg up, consolidation, and then a second gigantic leg up. Prices are moving. I don't see any good, clean, safe entry. You do have a new low, first entry short, second entry short. Nothing here tells me to get a short entry ready though. Even though it's a break of this channel, it made 1 attempt up, pull back, maybe a second attempt up, or it could just be seen as 1 attempt up. So here there's no real setup. Prices keep chopping sideways. It looks like it's in a smaller trading range right here. We have a new low here, first entry short. Nothing here tells you to go short here except potentially a triple test. But the bottom of the range is a little, it just felt a little questionable. So you could say this is a triple test here, 1 attempt up, second attempt up, or, third attempt and fourth attempt. But here, I'm not ready to just suddenly think it's going to reverse yet. And then when this candle prints, it feels like it's too late because there's not enough room to the bottom of the trading range. Breaks out, starts breaking down. Now it looks like it's reversing. No clean setup yet. Prices move, and it's unfortunate. Like, this is a really nice big move, but I didn't see any clean way to enter. You could argue that maybe this is a new high, first entry long, pullback, second entry long, failure. But I feel that's a reach because you're potentially running into the bottom of this trading range. You could also make the argument that, well, you saw that it's, didn't quite hit the EMA, and after it broke and closed below the trading range, I guess you could make the argument. It's kind of a hard reach to say that, I would have taken a short here and then rode this down. I think if you say that, then you're kind of being biased because you saw what happened after the fact. There's a new low here. It's first entry short. Almost have a second entry short. Breaks out of this orange channel, breaks out and tests and makes a new high. So it is a first entry short, second entry short, enough room to the EMA, confirms the second entry short. I didn't really think too much of this trade, and I wanted a lower high confirmation. Comes up, it gives you potentially a lower high. Here confirms the lower high. Now, what I don't like about this lower high, it confirms the second entry short after 2 clean legs up, 1 leg up, push back, second leg up. This yellow down channel wants to test its low. The problem with this setup is this this lower high isn't very clean. It's a doji. And on top of that, it confirms it's a lower high, but this is indecision. It's about a pretty even tug of war between the buyers and the sellers. So that leaves me a little more cautious because you don't really know if it's going to push up or necessarily that it's going to push down. So I stayed away. Then the next candle, this one is more convincing that prices might be coming down, but now it looks like it's having trouble breaking below the EMA. Had this actually closed below the EMA, then I thought, okay, maybe there'd be a trade there. But since it stopped short and I had to wait for 2 additional candles, I'm abandoning the trade now. And it flushes down. I'm already not thinking of going short after seeing this. So I just kind of sat and waited it out. Prices then push down. It starts chopping sideways again. At this point, I'm thinking it might be a trading range again. Made one push down, second push down, two pushes up, and it's kind of moving sideways. I don't have this green down channel drawn yet. Now, this trading range, what troubles me was it's making consistent highs, but the lows are making lower lows. So it's kind of a bias. So I'm not 100% sure if this is the bottom of the trading range, or maybe it's slightly lower where it contacts this second one, or maybe even lower where it's going to make sure it touches here. But every time I adjusted the trading range, I'd only get 2 points of clean contact unless I kept it high up, which made it have three touches, except each touch now was breaking out and going a little bit lower. So it gives me a little more caution on trusting this particular trading range. Here's a new high, so first entry long. Technically, I have a second entry long here, and it is at the bottom of this trading range. Now, I don't know why my marker disappeared, but it would be second entry long, and I actually did try to take this trade, and I missed because it's also second entry long and a triple test. Not the cleanest triple test, but it is a triple test. So when I saw this, I was thinking, if this breaks above, then I want to take this trade. It broke above, and as it was breaking, I entered my entry at the highs of this candle, and as you can see, it opened, ticked just one below, and then flashed up. But I didn't have my order ready in time, so it left without me. And once it moved up that high, I felt like the trade was already done. So this was a missed trade, unfortunately. Then it breaks down and below. It chops around, looks like it's falling into a second trading range. It's a new low, first entry short, second entry short. Nothing here would have told me to go short because this isn't a good signal bar. Chops around. This is a second entry long triple test, and it's kind of a repeat of what happened here. So this is a localized new high, count resets here. The first entry long, pullback. Here, I was seeing a triple test, but this time, even though it repeated, I didn't realize repetition until later when I saw this flash up and I thought, that looked familiar. So this is a possible trade here. And unfortunately, I didn't recognize this in real time because it is a decent signal bar. Triple test, one touch, two touch, three touch, and it's pushing back up. So this is a potential trade that I should have been more on top of it. Prices move. So when it touched this time, I drew this down channel thinking it's one touch, two touch, three touch, and the bottom of the channel is here. So you could argue that maybe there's technically a triple test here. Tried one attempt, second attempt, third attempt, and it's failing. And here you would have known, okay, now maybe there's this green down channel coming down, or at least this trend line, that you could make an argument to go short right here. But I didn't, so I kind of left it alone. So it breaks out the bottom. I see another potential trade right here. It's a second entry long, so it's new high. First entry long, pullback, second entry long. The second entry long looks like it's about to fail, but I'm in a trading range, so I'm not necessarily counting for second entries, but it is there. And I also saw this as a fail breakout. It tried one attempt up, pullback. It tried a second time to enter back into this trading range, but it looks like it's failing. So I thought there's a potential breakout pullback and looked like it might be pushing back down because this is tried 2 attempts up after this break, and it's a really strong close. And I thought there might be enough to push back down to here. It depends on what this next candle is going to do. So here it kind of pushes down and it continues downward. So not being super sharp, I missed this, but I didn't recognize this setup in real time to see a failed breakout pullback. But I think if you're more experienced, you might have seen like this break, one attempt up, 2 attempts up, pushing back down. Maybe he wants to test the lows of this channel. Prices then continue chopping. It confirms this green down channel. A new low, first entry short, second entry short, higher low, but these are not very convincing candles. It feels a little unclean. Prices then continue moving. It moves into the sideways consolidation. You have a new high, first entry long, pullback, second entry long, technically third entry long. Could be a failed breakout, but overall bias of the market right now is going down. So I'm not too keen on looking for going long just yet. Continues to move sideways and now moves up a little bit. It moves up this, what I think is this big up channel. Now I drew this blue line here because I noticed it. I didn't want to extend this trading range all the way over to here, but I saw that this is a potential resistance that's being respected, and it indeed was respected one more time here. Then it pushes up and it comes back down. I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. There is a second entry long here, but this is an inside bar. I don't like that the signal bar is inside, also closed below the EMA. Also want to point out that I saw this as one big leg down, pull back. Now there's a potential second leg that's going to come back down. I drew this blue line to keep an eye out for if prices come down here, you could see a small correction or a small bounce reaction. Prices then chop sideways. So it's this break of this up channel, made a new high, came back, moved one leg down, push up, a second leg down. Now there potentially could be a second leg up. So that's where I drew this as a potential measured move up here, and the second leg ideally coming up to here. And if it does make it up to here, there's a setup with enough room to get up to here, I would take a long. Or if it gets up to this range or this level, and it looks like there's a setup for a second entry short, then I might take a short here because it would have made the measured move. We try to correct on a clearly bearish day. So it's kind of this new low, first entry short, second entry short, third entry short. I don't see anything that I particularly like. Move sideways. You have a triple test here. This is kind of noisy because you have doji here. You have kind of these big spiky moves. I'm not confident on taking any setups right now. It pushes down, hits the pre-market lows, which looks like it might hold. So I'm watching carefully, but it doesn't. It looks like it's just chopping and it continues back down. So here it makes the measured move. One leg down, pull back, second leg down, and it's hitting that measured move. So now I'm actually looking for potential long trade for a quick correction, but it has to be a very clean setup because I don't want to be trying to pick the bottom. But technically, you could say, well, you don't really have, I don't want to say, but you could, it's like a new high here, first entry long, second entry long, but I don't think that's a very clean new high. Filter around and continues down. When I say that, it was more like you'd be trying to invent a setup here just to justify that the measured move was made to try to take a long trade. And I didn't really like that. So that's why I didn't really say this is a new high. Prices then continue moving. It falls into this green down channel. It falls back into another trading range. And it breaks out, comes back down, potentially a failed breakout here, pushes back down. You have a new high here, first entry long, second entry long. Second entry long at the low of the day, but it's been a very bearish day, so I'm reluctant to go long just yet. And it's below the EMA. It is at the bottom of the trading range, but it's just not a good enough or clean setup to feel confident in. Prices then continue breaking down. So at this point in the day, I'm thinking, okay, I have to be very careful looking for longs, and clearly things are just going short. EMA is having prices push above it, but overall it has been pointing downwards, this blue line. So it just kind of reinforces the idea of like be very, very careful looking for a long, and more likely just get ready for a short setup. Prices then continue moving down on this really nice yellow down channel. Now I wasn't able to find any clean, safe setup that I would have trusted. So unfortunately, this big move left without me. Prices then continue. Now it's bouncing, it's hitting the EMA, it breaks above, and I'm watching carefully. Here I do see a new high. It's the first entry long pullback. It actually takes one tick above, makes a second entry long, and in the same candle, it creates a failure on the second entry long. I thought this is actually a possible trade because it ticked one tick above and made, after this yellow down channel, made one attempt up right here after the break. You can say it's this break, one attempt up, two attempts up, and now it's probably coming back down to test the lows. So this is also a really strong signal bar close. So this is a possible trade. It looks like, I don't know necessarily that I would have gotten filled here because I would have probably just placed it at the lows of this candle and I wouldn't have had the trade necessarily ready until when this one's already starting to move, and I probably would have missed this trade. It's the bottom of the range, technically it's a new low. You could argue that this is a first touch, a second touch, potentially a triple test. New high, it's a first entry long, second entry long below the EMA, and it looks like you could say maybe it hit the highs here because your trading range might have been a little bit lower, maybe slightly where my cursor is. So you can make an argument that's trying to come back down to the bottom. So I'm not necessarily thinking of going long yet. That doesn't mean I'm thinking of going short yet. It was new high, first entry long, pullback, second entry long. Now this second entry long failure, I saw it and I was thinking about it, but I don't like that it came so close to the localized low. This is the low of the day as well. So there's no clean entry here with enough room for a clean, safe scalp. Breaks out below, moves up. So it broke out. There's a potential fail breakout on a larger time frame. Push up. I saw this as a new low. It's a first entry short. Now pull back. This is looks like it's a still only have a first entry short. You could argue there's a potential second entry short that's hidden here. But I also saw this as a new high. It's a first entry long, pullback, and then a hidden second entry long. Now this hidden second entry long, it's a break of this pink channel. Looks like it's making one attempt up. And I'm thinking there's enough momentum to make a second attempt up with this really strong signal bar close. Looks like it would have, gotten a quick scalp. Prices are moving up, trying to get back to the top of the range. It's a new high. It's a first entry long here. That's kind of all you get. It starts moving back down, testing the lows of this channel. It's making lower highs every time. So I'm thinking there was this really big sell-off. It was consolidating and it's showing some kind of weakness. So I'm thinking there could be continuation downwards. There's a new high here. It's a first entry long. Push, push, push up. Pull back, second entry long. Maybe if you had it drawn like me, you could say that this is the low of the trading range, but the trading range, it looks like it's not quite being respected now because it's lower highs every time. The second attempt pushed further below, so to ask for it to go long, to push back up to the top of the trading range feels like a reach. So even though there's a second entry long here, I don't think there's a trade here. Prices then continue down on this down channel. It's a new low. It's a first entry short. Push down. So it's the first entry short. You actually make a new low here. Not new low. First entry short. Push down. Pulls back. Second entry short. Now, when you see this, I can see that might be tempted to go short. But what I am reluctant to go short on is I'm already reaching the low of the day again. Now, previously, when this happened, it kept going downwards, as you can see in the past, but it just feels a little dicey. I would want a lower high confirmation, and you don't get that. And if you did take the short, you would have gotten stopped out. I saw this as a new high. It's a first entry long, pullback, creates a hidden second entry long and a potential triple test. One touch, two touch, three touch. Now, this potential hidden second entry long is coming from potentially a fail breakout here. So it's pushing back in. It's a really strong signal bar. It ticked one tick below and it engulfed it entirely. So I think this is a little bit more of an aggressive trade. I think you would have had to have taken it on the engulfing after this candle broke above. Probably drop the order in and hope it comes back to pick you up. I'm not too worried about the EMA at this point because it's kind of clearly looking like it's ranging. But it looked like it would have worked. But Again, in real time, I didn't process all this in time to think about that. Definitely after the fact, when I had a time to review it under a little bit less stressful conditions, I thought there was potential trade here. So technically, the new high here is a first entry long pullback, hidden second entry long, count resets. You could have a first entry long pullback, second entry long here. But the problem with this is it looks like I'm potentially reaching the highs. So I want a little bit more room to scalp out, even if it's a 1 point scalp, especially when it's set up like this. Prices then continue moving up, breaks out of this channel, creates a new high, comes back down. I saw this as a new high. It's a first entry long pullback, second entry long failure. Now looks like it's an almost trade. I wanted this to touch the EMA and flash down, but also not close so low because it's already closing below. So I don't know if it's going to have a bounce. It looks like it's made two clean legs already. So it's a measured move. It could have a relief bounce here. So this is kind of like an almost trade. A few things I need to set up to feel more confident going short here. Prices then move all the way down, continues making lower lows. And at this point, you see that it's already moved 100 full points. New low here, first entry short, pullback, second entry short, pushes up and flashes down. I like this. I thought it was a possible lower high short trade. It's a break of this yellow down channel. Looked like it made one attempt up, pullback, second attempt up, failed. It confirms the second entry short, closed below the EMA, pretty decently strong signal bar. So it looks like it has enough momentum to push back down. So this is a possible trade. Unfortunately, I wasn't on it. Looked like it would have worked. Then the next, pretty much till the end of the day or end of the regular trading hours, it creates these doji candles. Nothing I particularly like. It feels dicey. You have a new high, first entry long pullback. Second entry long technically is made here, but it's a bad signal bar. You do have a lower high here, but it's just happened to break above the EMA on a clearly bearish day with only 30 minutes left in the day, so it just feels a little late to try to take any trades. Pushes up. It looks like it's just starting to range. And you could argue, and there are second entry longs here, but this is just too late in the day to try to take a trade here. I kind of resided myself to, feel that, okay, it's probably just a no trade day. And I didn't feel my analysis, even as I review these trades, to be really on top today. So it feels a little bit, my mind's kind of not fully focused. So I didn't think it's probably better that it turned out to be a no trade day. So, I don't lose any money. So hopefully that was helpful.